Pooch here, and man, Pooch is getting ready for the 10 killer meetup. Him and Pretty are getting ready to do some camping. But as I was thinking about it, I thought, you know what? I feel like doing a project too, and we're going to need a power supply. We're going to need a power supply to recharge our phones, run some lights. So, of course, I could have went and bought a Jackery, which I dang near did it, but I didn't, because I thought, hey, I could make my own. And that's exactly what Pooch is going to do. I had these two little batteries here, and I bought this little control panel right here, a little 4-pin, 4-station control panel. You know, I'm going to wire it up in this here box, and I'm going to make my own portable battery charger. Pretty easy, and I'm not the first one that's ever done this, and there's plenty of videos out there, but I figured I'd just record it and let you folks watch old Pooch attempt to do something. But I've already made one. This one's a little bit bigger, a little bigger battery in there. So I've already made one, but I'm going to make this other one, and I'm going to be wiring these two batteries parallel in here to give it a longer, deeper cycle. This is just a single battery. It's a little bit bigger than these two, but these two will go in this box. I can run a phone, charge the phones, run my lights. It's going to be in our little tent, and it's always good to have it. So y'all sit back and watch. This ought to be a good one, and it might inspire you to do the same. So let's get after it. Yes, sir? Now let's get after this. Now I've already pre-wired a lot of my wire extensions. Again, I'm wiring this in parallel, so I've already set this battery set up, 2 batteries wired in parallel. I'll be running a lead off this here positive side and a lead off the negative side, and it's going to be going straight to the switch that's on this here little controller. You know, I'll be able to turn it on, it'll power up, show me how much charge I've got. It'll allow me to put USB ports in here, and it's even got an electric cigarette lighter port. Most of them do nowadays. Don't use them too much, but with some of the lights I'm going to be using, I'm probably going to wire it up to plug that cigarette lighter adapter into it. But that's going to be first. And again, I did make most of my connections, so I'm already done there. But I do have to drill the box out, make the holes for this to go into it. But first things first, y'all know Pooch, I gotta have calm down to kind of keep me leveled out a little bit. I don't want to get too bent out of shape over nothing simple, so I'm gonna get my pinch. And we're gonna start getting this thing ready to go. Again, just my basic box. It's an ammo box. Like everybody else that does this, I got it at Harbor Freight. And you know what? I'm not even spending a third, not even a third, probably not even a quarter of what it would cost me to go buy a Jackery with the same amount of amps, power, and all. And I'm making it myself. Simple flip open box. Empty inside, little handle, complete to carry it with, but I gotta get it ready. And first things first, we're gonna get this here all undone. These things just screw together. Once I get the holes drilled in here, we'll be able to mount this plate, put these back in, and as you can tell, they've all got connectors on them. That's how we'll be wiring it to these batteries. Ought to be pretty cool too, actually. But let's take this thing apart so we can get our template to drill them holes in that box. Take it apart. Just gonna put all that stuff right there. These little things screw off right here. Each little component will pop out of there. It'll leave the holes, and then we can mount that to that box and get them holes drilled out. So here we go. all disassembled. And remember, do like Pooch did. He took a picture of the wiring with his phone. That way he don't miswire anything. It's not that hard. It's pretty simple, but just for safety, security purposes, I went ahead and took a picture to make sure I put the wires back in each spot and location. But let's get the drill ready, and let's get this thing holes drilled and get it mounted up so we move to the next step. Yes, sir? Now I've brought you in a little closer. As you can see, I don't know if y'all can see that, I hope you can, but I've got that plate right there centered in the top of this box. And what I'm gonna do is I wanna keep it pretty centered in that spot. I got some screws that'll mount this to it. But what I wanna do first is, I'm gonna take this here Sharpie. I'm gonna go around in circles of the holes that are inside this here mounting plate. I'm gonna draw my circle. That's gonna give me the diameter that I need in order to put the switches and all back in. What I'm doing right here is I'm marking my little holes for the screws to mount that to, which looks like it's done a good job. We'll set this back over here. We'll put the lid back on, my marker so it don't dry out. And you can tell I've got my holes right there. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna pre-drill these little holes. That's where the screws will go to secure that plate to this box. Just a little pilot hole for them to go in. Get a little more centered there. There we go. That'll be my holes to mount that plate to the box. And next, well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and make a pilot hole. I don't want it to get too off. And I'm eyeballing this, as you can tell. It ain't gonna be perfect. It's just gonna be functional for Pooch. This is giving me a pilot hole to run that big hole cutter. Make the big holes in order to put all that back in there. We're gonna start like so. Not quite. That was my first one, and I did use, easiest thing to use right there, a step bit. You remember these? This is what we're going to put back in that plate, but I want to make sure it fits in there, and it does. Fits perfect in that hole right there. Let's get these other ones done. And what I'm doing is I'm eyeballing it. Eyeballing it just enough to meet that circle that I drew on there. Remember the circle with the marker? That's what Pooch is doing here. There we go. We got all the holes drilled. And again, you don't have to be perfect. See there? That'll allow me to put all those pieces back in it and mount that plate. But what we're going to do first, let me get a get rid of some of that there juice. That's good juice too. But here's that plate. We're going to line it back up. I'm going to get my screws started. These are my screws that will anchor this to it. This will secure the plate. Again, folks, super easy. Nothing better than doing it yourself. Making your own, way cheaper, and it'll be just as functional. Yes, it will. All right, let me get that other drill. My drill driver, I'm gonna change that drill bit out. I'm gonna put my Phillips drive back on it. We're gonna make sure it's all lined up good and pretty. Now I know I'm gonna have to probably cut these screws off on the inside because they're way too long. I don't want them messing up nothing. And this is just holding the plate on there, is all it's doing. Get the last one. Come on, let's go. There we go. We got my mounting bracket back on there. Let's open it up and look. Let's see, dump the crap out of there. Y'all can see the holes are all in there, ready for me to insert the controls. Now the first one that went in here was the toggle switch, off and on. So, put it in there, and it most definitely lines up. It's in there. Then you had that little nut there you had to put on it. Let's put it on. Tighten it up. Not only will those screws hold that in there, these little rings will keep that plate secured in there as well. And the next one that was on was the little voltage meter indicator. Turn it around so you can see what I'm doing. But the voltage meter indicator is the next one. I'm going to put it right here. Yep. See how flush she went? I'm going to take that other ring. I'm going to put her on there. Tighten it up. Now I don't know if the jackeries, if those have the ability to replace the battery in it when and if it dies and you can't charge it no more or whatever. But at least with these, I can take them out, buy some new ones, plop back in it. The next one we're going to use is going to be the USB ports. That's the cigarette lighter. Here's the USB ports. It's got 2 USB ports on there. We are going to put that one in that hole, line it up, make sure it's in there proper and secured. Grab the other ring, screw it on. Snug her up. Make sure it all stays straight. And tighten it pretty, all you need is hand tight really. And then the final one will be the cigarette lighter adapter. I'm going to drop that in there. Let's make sure she lines up, falls into spot. And she appears to be. Get the ring, pop it on, tighten her up. That's a long-winded one there. Very long-winded. But let's tighten her up. And I think anybody could do this. It's a cool little project too. Give you something to do out here. It's nice outside. Pooch wanted to be in the shop. And tomorrow is April 1st. And those of us that are going to 10 Killer YouTube meetup, it'll be here before you know it. And Pooch is just getting ready. Him and Pretty are going to be camping out there. Last few times we've been to these events, we've always stayed in a cabin. But this time, we're going to rough it and stay on the grounds with everybody. But look at there. We got it. We got her ready. She's all mounted in there, nice and pretty. So the next part's going to be putting the batteries in and wiring it all back up. So let me get myself set up and let's get after it. Yes, sir. Alrighty, folks, like I told you, pre-wired leads for the controls. I've already got my batteries wired parallel. That way I'll be pulling off 2 batteries to get a longer time of use out of this thing. But first things first, I want to put these wires back on these controllers in here before I slap the batteries in there, because it'll probably be, it won't be tight, but it's going to be easier for me to get these things on there while everything's out of the way. And I do remember pretty much where they went on here, which is good. Main thing is just getting them to fall in the plugs properly. And just in case, I did make notes on where these things were going. And that's what Pooch is doing now. He just took a glance at that picture. Plugging these all back in here on those little prongs. Everything looks pretty good. There you go. That's the red wires, which will be supplying the power. Alright, the next one's going to be the black wires, which is your negative. And we will place those where they go. Now there's only 2 plugs left, or there's only 2 plugs on each one of these, so easy. You really can't mess this up, so don't be afraid of it. There we go. There we go. We've got all the negatives ran into place. Now the next part will be setting in the batteries. Again, I've already got these wired parallel. I'm going to take them. They might be a little tight there, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So I'm probably going to need to do this. Undo that. Drop one battery in. Set it in there. And then drop that second battery in there. I wasn't going to be able to get them around the control boxes there, the control modules, in order to get all this plugged back in. But I'm going to plug my batteries back to each other the way they were. And it is pretty tight. Alright. Let's get that plug back on, the negative. Let's get the positive plug back on. That way both batteries are reconnected. And I will put some spacers in here to kind of help these batteries not to float and move around. So, but anyway, I've got the batteries back in. I hope you folks can see that. Now we are going to connect the batteries to the controls. I've got this one wire right here that also connects to the on-off switch. Let me get that and put in place. Okay. Well, thought I got it. Let's tie it too. Come on, get in there. Get that baby slid up into place. Got to make sure you make the connection because it won't work if you don't. And of course, I'm having a little bit of trouble. That one's in the center of that thing, so let me move it and I can get it on there better this time. Yeah, there we go. That made it. And put the negative back together. Right. And now, of course, we need to connect our negative. Actually, you're going to do it like you do a car. Positive first, then your negative. Oh, but don't tell me I didn't make that long enough. I thought I did. I might not have made my lead long enough for that, which I thought I did, but it's a good chance I didn't. I don't want to have to remake it, but come on, baby. Don't do me wrong. I'm filming this, by God. Well, alrighty, folks. We got the batteries all in. Everything's wired up. If y'all can see inside there. Let's close her up. Let's turn her around. Let's flip the switch. Do we got power? We got power. What kind of voltage we got? We got 12 volts. Can y'all see that? Look at there. All of this in a matter of what? 20, 30 minutes making this thing? But let's give her a shot. Let's give her a shot, see what happens. I got these cool little lantern lights here. It's what me and Pretty's gonna use in our tent. Got blue light. Let's kick this in. Look at there. Lit up. Now I could run double A's or whatever in it, but little camping lights are ready. Those are working. Let's get the phone. Let's see what she does. Let's get her plugged in. Am I the right way? Probably not. Let me turn it around. Look at there. She's powering. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Now again, I made both of these. Nowhere near the cost of what a Jackery cost. Granted, these will work just fine for what I need them for. And it doesn't mean I won't get a Jackery at some point. But go camping, go fishing, who knows what. You always got something you can carry with you for a little bit of power to run you some lights. charge your phone, charge your battery cameras for your GoPros or who knows what. 12-volt battery. That's pretty cool. But folks, Pretty and I are getting really excited about this camping trip. 10 Killer YouTube meetup with all you folks. And remember, just because you may not be a channel, you're still welcome to come. We'd love to meet all the subscribers. But y'all stay tuned. Pooch will be putting up some more stuff in the preparation for going camping. And Pretty's going with me. Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon.